Regarding November's story, notes on the time travel story. I think it sounds like a psychotic delusion, if an elaborately ornate one. The way he speaks about his experiences is rather authentic. That's hard to fake, but not impossible. He could be an actor of some kind, playing out his own weird little script for me to dance along to. More than likely, actually, thinking about it a little. If he's lying, then he's good at it. I'd almost prefer that. I asked him today about his family, and the look in his eyes is hard to fake, I'll tell you that. I've seen a lot of tells, crocodile tears and forced sadness in plays for pity. Those eyes didn't say any of that. They said they'd seen it. No, I have to be logical. It's possible he is an actor of some kind, and maybe this is some strange game, or that this psychotic delusion is something he legitimately experienced. He mentioned his wife and child. He said, to stop the war, he had to leave her behind. When I mentioned this and the subject came up, he went a little quiet. If he is an actor, he pays fine attention to details. Even his body language became cloistered. His eyes went glassy and distant. Strange level of detail to go to in a performance for one person. He explained that how he supposedly saved the world was that he traveled back through time to prevent himself from marrying a woman. And not marrying her is the difference he needed to make for the butterfly effect to change events to our world, as he put it. I wonder what he means by that. If by our he means his own, too, is what I meant. But that presumes he's telling the truth. If he was, then, well, he lost his family and, tragically, those eyes are hard to fake. You see it in soldiers, trafficking victims, abuse survivors, people who had to fight to make it. He has those kind of eyes. But there's other reasons to see the world through eyes like that. He could be traumatized from some other thing. I don't know. There is the initial novel interest of wanting to believe a interesting time travel claim, but not when it's so dystopian. The nature of his story doesn't have me wanting to believe it on the basis of it sounding like an attractive fantasy. It has more in common with, maybe, psychotic delusions of grandeur? He mentioned he was some kind of messiah. That's definitely a sign of something pathological, maybe narcissistic. I don't know that either, because if he's telling the truth, it would be scary. It would mean one man made one choice that was so important to the rest of the world that his making the opposite decision in a time travel event changes the course of history to our world? Is that even possible? How could it be? Even if time travel is possible, even if it was, it would mean our world is some kind of dream. I don't mean that in like a Matrix kind of way, but I mean, he talks about this war as if it was real. I mean a dream like an ambition or a goal. This world would have been his dream. A world where the war doesn't happen. It was his dreams he spoke to himself through. If that is true. Let's just say it is for a second, to entertain it as a hypothetical. Imagine that. Being told by your future self you need to leave behind someone you love, someone you want to marry. Because if you do, the world will end. It's really hard to think about going through that. It's hard to think that anyone could. Who could go through a war losing the person they love? Then to be given the chance to see them again, to love them again, and to have to say no, and to live again a whole new life without them, knowing they live in the same time you do. That's sadly romantic, in a weird way. Almost sweet. Because if he's telling me anything like the truth, then he saved the world by turning away the one he loved the most. He sacrificed his own happiness to save her life. And the world? Hell of a story. But he still can't prove it. All he can say are supposed memories that could be lies for all I know. I need to figure out a way to get the real truth out of him. I dug more into his social media. The posts are beginning to make more sense as he has explained more of his story. There's definitely implications of a woman behind the sorrow in his posts. Something deeply longing for the hope of her. Could it be that he orchestrated these profiles to support this story? That'd be insane. Why go to such extents to prove a story? It's almost like he's trying to... like he wants to prove it to someone. Like he wants someone to believe him. Like he wants her to believe him. They're addressed as if he was talking to her and that she might have been reading. But I don't know. Is it true the woman these posts are about is the same woman from his story? And if so, what happened to her in our world? If he's being honest, then her life will be completely different from the point he left her. What is her life like now? Do you know?
As far as I know, I don't know much anymore. I don't really keep tabs on her as you might think. But what I do know is she has a little girl now, with a husband and a house, and she won the game and I'm proud of her. She's found happiness. That's the best thing I could have hoped for her.
She has a family.
Yes, that's all I know. I don't know names, stuff like that. I just know they're there.
And that's the differential. The little girl.
Yes, the little girl she has in this universe never existed in mine. Because in that universe, that little girl was my daughter, and not someone else's. So the differential becomes, this new life exists where a previous one took place, thus replaces Mariella. I don't know the new life's name, but the one she replaces was named Mariella.
And that was your daughter. The one who... Oh yes, I'm sorry for your loss.
It's fine, thank you, I'm okay. I've long since reconciled that the truth of matters is no matter how much I tried, Mariella's world would always burn, and she away with it, and her mother. So, I do not know what will happen now, but I do know it will be different, based on this single life as the differential causal preferential.
And by a differential causal preferential, you mean, like, the universe will completely change because this one life is from a different source than she originally was. Are you saying that because you're from a different timeline, you're a bridge between the 21st century repeating itself into the 22nd?
Yes, that's accurate. I am the living artifact that exists as what we might call a preference for causal patterning. More basically, the universe prefers and fears that I exist, and I am exactly where I am meant to be. Telling you this, so the story is told, more or less. Everything is just filling in fine details.
So what was the war even like? Can you describe what it was like after you lost your family and found Athena again? How did you go about helping the resistance eventually kill Hades?
It was not easy in the beginning, because anyone who survived was contending with a terrifying new reality of Hades and his drones of Cocytus. That became our new world, the drones and Hades and other people we had to fear.
That sounds scary. What was Hades' drones of Cocytus?
They were, basically in a simple word, zombies. Mostly, in the idea they were ravenous human beings who could rise from the dead and would attack others to spread the disease of Cocytus.
What was Cocytus?
Cocytus was a nanomachine that was able to reanimate the dead and control their bodies to Hades' will. It could reanimate the dead.
That sounds terrifying. You fought zombies?
Yes, I did.
You're not kidding about that, are you? You really had to fight zombies?
In the beginning, we had no idea what the hell was even happening. People thought the dead were rising because of Judgment Day. And I guess in a way they were right.
Why did he make zombies?
It was the most advantageous thing to do with the rising dead. As in, the more people who died in Terminus, the more foot soldiers Hades ultimately gained. For every living human who fell, the more his undead army grew.
That sounds almost mythic. Frightening, but how did you survive?
I, like most people, learned pretty quick. Guns were our best friends and currency. I traded more cigarettes and bullets than I ever did money in my life by the war's end. It wasn't about dollars and cents anymore. It was about anything that would keep you alive, and the dead, dead. Everything became about survival instincts. The survival of everything depended on me staying alive long enough to found the resistance and begin banding together free humanity.
That's where Athena began guiding you? The turning point where a lone survivor becomes the leader of the resistance. You transformed a situation. How was that?
It was not easy. I had to convince people we could destroy Hades, and that was near impossible in the beginning. I had to trust Athena and her vision, because she knew so long as I had the people I needed, I could get it done. It was all about the right people, the right team, the right vision. Pushing forward to bring together tribes and bands of nomads, to one day liberate humanity from the control of Hades, and to lay to rest his drones.
Wow. How did you guys defeat Hades?
We had to destroy two components of Hades' brain. One part was his reptile mind, and the other was his mammalian.
A mammalian what?
Basically, human brains are made up of two sections. The lower reptilian that governs basic life functions and some processes of higher consciousness. But this is generally the subconscious. Then, the conscious you and I consider ourselves is housed within the mammalian cerebellum. Atop the reptilian sits the mammalian. So our higher emotive consciousness happens in the architecture between mammalian and reptilian brain structures. We had to destroy both parts simultaneously, and since they were separate in space, we had to find the locations and then destroy them at the same time.
How did you do that? And where was his brain cases?
One was beneath Raven Rock. That's a military nuclear installation for the United States military. And then the other was on a satellite that was flying through near Earth orbit. That was his mammalian consciousness.
And you had to destroy them simultaneously. Why?
Because if we sent one down, the other would pick it up and broadcast it to the next case. So for no cases to activate, we had to basically hunt down and destroy every case until only 2 remained. And out of the original 8, we destroyed 6. We only had a period of about 7.5 hours to attack Hades before he built new brain cases. So, before his consciousness could copy onto new cases, we had to destroy the final remaining 2.
How did you manage to successfully kill him then?
I was a part of the leaders who designed the plan. The idea was to detonate a large bundle of nuclear weapon warheads underneath Raven Rock, triggering a collapse of its interior by an earthquake and subsequent magmatic reaction. Once Raven Rock was destroyed, then we had to destroy the satellite. How we did that was using an SR-71 Blackbird, armed with a nuclear ICBM, that would launch off its back from near exosphere orbit into space, that the ICBM used as a jump pad to destroy the satellite.
Wow. And this killed Hades. What was it like? What side were you on?
I was on the team that led the nuclear bundled into of the core of Raven Rock.
You captured Raven Rock?
Not alone.
How did you guys manage to take down the most secure facility in the United States?
It required us to trust certain individuals within Hades' architecture, to betray him and his cause.